Hey guys, welcome to Mrs. Crop's classroom. This is one lesson on how to cite evidence in your work. So every time that you complete an answer, you write an answer, you need to make sure that you are supporting it with evidence from the text. So this is going to explain a little bit more about how you do that. So to talk about how to cite evidence to support your own answers, we first need a text or story that we're reading, and that is House Taken Over by Julio Cortázar, and a question. And the question is here, it is compare and contrast. How is the behavior the siblings exhibit during sleep different from their behavior while awake? So the story is about a brother and a sister who live in a house, and they live throughout a certain time period in the story in the house, and eventually the house gets taken over by this unknown entity. So looking at our question, we need to make sure that we are focusing on the right comparison. The first thing that we need to look at is how they behave while they are asleep, and how is this behavior different from while they are awake. So we're not necessarily comparing the two siblings, we're comparing both siblings' actions from day to night. So a possible answer is the main difference between the siblings' actions from day to night is that during the day they fill the house with sound to cover up the voices from the other side of the large oak door. And then at night, the siblings attempted to be quiet, settling in the part of the house farthest from the noise. While neither sibling is trying to be noisy, neither one can sleep soundly. The narrator is flailing about in his sleep while his sister talks in her sleep. Now, this is my own answer. This is just a direct inference that one reader may get while reading this story. There's no evidence here. Nothing is supporting my answer. I am putting out what I think the answer is. So the next thing that you have to do is you have to pull a quote from a text that actually supports what you said. So my first answer, the main difference between the siblings' actions from day to night is that during the day they fill the house with sound to cover up the voices from the other side of the large oak door. My quote is then in yellow, during the day there were the household sounds, click of knitting needles, the rustle of stamp album pages turning. And this sentence comes from paragraph 21 in the copy of the text that I have. So I'm citing myself. This sentence, during the day there were the household sounds, this is something that I did not write. This is something that came directly from the text. So I'm going to add it to my answer, but I'm going to put quotation marks around it, and that is in fact what makes it what we call in the English world a quote. It does not need to be something that a character says explicitly to someone else to be considered a quote. We just mean any sentence that comes from any text that you yourself did not write. And of course I'm giving credit by putting para 21, which is for paragraph 21, so you guys can go back and find that specific sentence if you so desired. Now the second part of my answer, at night the siblings attempted to be quiet, settling in the part of the house farthest from the noise. While neither sibling is trying to be noisy, neither one can sleep soundly. The narrator flails about in his sleep while his sister talks in her sleep. This answer needs to be backed up as well, or supported. So the sentence that I'm going to pull to support that answer is, but when we went back to our rooms or to the living room, then the house grew quiet, half lit. We ended by stepping around more slowly as not to disturb one another. So this also comes from the same paragraph, but it still helps my comparison. It explains how the siblings acted different from day to night. Notice that when you put a quote in an answer, you need a quotation mark. This is going to mark to your teacher or to a reader that you did not write what is coming after the quotation mark. So you need to make sure you have your quotation marks every time you are putting a quote from another text in your answers. The next thing that I'm going to note is the comma. I did not put a period at the end of this sentence because it is not the end of my sentence. You put a comma and then a quotation mark, and then you put the paragraph or page number that you found the evidence on. And then lastly, I'm going to note that you need to include the page or paragraph number where you find your sentence. This way, if I so desired, I could go find the evidence that you chose. This is the proper way to add evidence to a text or evidence from a text into your answers.